Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Adam Bro. Thank you for tuning in. I am a functional nutritionist, personal trainer, and holistic life coach. So help people get their health back, thrive, or take their health to the next level. So if you're watching this on YouTube, would love for you to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Snarky comments are okay too, as long as you're nice. Also, if you're watching this on or listening to it on your favorite podcast platform, please like and share. It helps us to get our content out to more people and hopefully help more people. Again, that's our goal. Our goal here is not necessarily just to be contrary or whatever, or, make a ton of money, which money's always great. But at the end of the day, our goal is to help people. So thank you for that. The topic today is how much protein do you need to maximize muscle growth, right? Protein, every bodybuilder's favorite macronutrient. There's lots of myths around protein. How much do you need? Do you need it at all? Does it hurt your kidneys? There's a lot of those things. So let's tackle a couple things real quick. First of all, studies show really no amount of protein hurts your kidneys unless you have a kidney problem already. If you're already being diagnosed or treated for kidney issues, yes, be aware. You don't want to tax your kidneys more than necessary. Can you live on a vegan or vegetarian diet without supplementing protein? Absolutely not. That is a malnutrition diet. There is a reason why, especially some European countries, are outlawing it for pets and babies. It's because the majority of animals do not thrive on a no protein diet unless they have mechanisms within their body to create protein from the nitrogen they consume from plants. Okay, for instance, like when people say, well, look at the gorilla, bruh. Gorilla's huge, bro. You're not a gorilla. You don't have his intestines tract, and you don't spend 23 hours a day chewing and eating grass. Okay? Look at the horse, bro. He's freaking huge. Yeah. He eats grass all day. His genetics make him huge, but he also has the ability to create amino acids from the nitrogen they consume in the plants. We do not have that. We need to get protein from animal products. Okay? I know that might go against some people's sensibilities, sense of what's right and wrong. Look, I didn't create the system. I'm just here to tell you, we live in this system, and you either play by the rules or you die early. So, right. If you want to have brittle hair, brittle nails, poor teeth, poor dental health, poor gut health, please, by all means, don't eat any protein. But if you're like me and the goal is to thrive and live the best life I can, then I'm going to eat as much protein as is required, and I'm going to get it from the best sources that I can. Okay, so with that out of the way, what do we need to maximize muscle growth? So when somebody comes to me and says, how much protein do I need, bruh? Because, you can't talk about protein, lifting weights without throwing a bro in there, a bruh, or anything like that. You just can't do it. It's like, it's written somewhere. When people ask this question, any good coach should answer back with a clarifying question. Like, in what context? What are you looking for? What are you hoping to get out of it? Because you had a question in your mind, you had a particular result you're looking for in your mind, which led to a question. What is the result you're looking for? Most guys who ask this question fall into a couple of categories. I'm trying to build muscle. I started working out again, and I want to build as much muscle as I can before summer gets here so I can cut my grass with my shirt off and flex on all the other dads in the neighborhood. Or I want to go to the beach, be able to take my shirt off and not look like I need to be rolled out of here. Okay, I want to be somewhat confident in my build. The other context is someone who is trying really hard to lose weight. They're probably significantly overweight and they're trying to lose it. For the most part, I'm going to answer this in the context of, first, how much do we need to build muscle mass? Okay, a couple things. Muscle mass is a key to longevity. It is not optional. It is not something that only guys with huge biceps want. It has a purpose. It is not vain to try to get muscle. You can get muscle for vain reasons, but trying to be muscular is not vanity. It is health. Now, how we go about that does matter. If you're trying to gain as much muscle mass as possible in order to, be vain or be the biggest person you possibly can, and you're going to use performance enhancing drugs to do that, well, that takes down the health benefits, okay? For the average person who is trying to just be healthy, gain as much muscle mass as they can and be more confident in their body, there is a number of how much protein you need and how much protein is optimal. Okay? I get a little tired with the current social media gurus always using the word optimal in science and everything. But in this case, the term does apply. How much protein does one need to optimally build muscle? First, we need to understand what muscle building is. When you lift weights, you are breaking down muscle mass. You are tearing the muscle in a sense. This is why you get sore. This is why you feel fatigue afterwards. This is why you can't just continually work out. You are breaking down muscle mass. And when you break down that muscle mass, it immediately afterwards, your body is in a heightened state of repair. It is ready to repair, to respond to that signal in order to compensate for what you've done to it, and then overcompensate a little bit to be prepared for the next time. You break down muscle when you work out. This is why you get sore. When you do a bunch of squats, your quads hurt. Your body is ready to build new muscle mass. After you work out, depending on how long you've been training and what level of a trainee you are, there's a specific window of what's called your anabolic window, where your body is particularly ready to build muscle mass, okay? It's at a state of heightened protein synthesis, meaning it is going to use as much as it can to build more muscle mass, okay? Now, this breaking down of tissue and muscle protein synthesis rebuilding is happening throughout the day, all the time. Just like you're gaining weight and losing fat all day, depending on where you are in the feeding, fasting state. So leveraging these things is how a good coach helps you to get to your goal, okay? So we're constantly in a state of breaking down, building up. Lifting weights sends the signal to adapt, build more. So how do we maximize that? How do we maximize that signal? How much protein do I need in order to get the most out of each workout? The studies, there's a lot of studies, and they show quite a different picture than what most people see, okay? So the myth is, or the standard advice is, you need 1 gram per pound of body weight to maximize muscle growth. Is that adequate? Sure. Is it accurate? Not quite. Are we getting into what I think, or are we getting into what the most of the evidence says? Most of the evidence points to a different number, okay? And it's lower than what you would expect. We'll get into some situations in a minute that will help us to give us some context on when more may be better, or when less might be okay. But most of the studies point to the fact that about 0.82 grams per pound of body weight is adequate for pretty much anyone's needs. That comes out to about 1.6 grams per kilogram if you're not on the empirical system, living in the past as we are in the West. So I do think the metric system is far easier. Let's just divide everything by 10. It's so much easier. Carry the 0, we're done. Okay? I'm tired of doing, 7/16. I'm tired of it. There's plenty of studies out there. I'm going to try to do my best to put them all in the show notes, in the notes at the bottom underneath this, in the description. And if you're a dork like me and you want to read them, please. But for the most part, I'm going to list off a few real quick. Walberg et al. In 1988 found that 0.73 grams was sufficient to maintain positive nitrogen balance when a weightlifter is cutting weight to compete. Okay, 0.7, that's lower than 0.8. Okay, than what we're recommending. Lemon et al. In 1992 found no difference in muscle mass or strength gains in novice bodybuilders consuming either 0.6 or 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. So 0.6 or double it. They found no difference over a 4-week period based on nitrogen balance data. Okay, so their recommendation was 0.75 to maximize. So they gave you a little bit of a buffer. So, and that's exactly what we're saying here. 0.82 is sufficient, slightly above what the recommendation would be. It's enough to build whatever you need, okay? So there are also 20 other stories that consistently failed to see any benefits from more than 0.16 grams per kilogram or 0.82 grams per pound of body weight. Menno Henselmans and Eric Helms have done great work on this, great articles. If you need more information, please look them up. They're great resources for pretty much everything. If you're more in the scientific realm, Greg Nuckols and Eric Trexler as well from the Mass Research Review also do a great job. Okay, so there's really not much need more than 0.82. Now, why does the 1 gram per pound of body weight consistently stay around? There might be a few reasons for that, okay? One is people tend to, and this is true for social media, this is true for bodybuilding, this is true for just in the gym in general. When I started training, I was 14 years old. I'm 46 now, so I've been doing this 32 years. And you just look at the big guy in the gym. What's he doing? And you go up and you ask, hey, Mr. Giant Man with man boobies, how much protein do I need to eat? Because I want to be huge like you. And he's like, bruh, you need like 1 gram to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. But he doesn't tell you that he's also on, a cornucopia of pharmacology that is allowing him to use more protein. I am 14 years old. I can't eat that much protein, and I'm not on performance enhancing drugs. So a lot of this comes from people asking pro bodybuilders and trying to mimic what they do, but leaving out a big key factor that they're on performance enhancing drugs, which allow for more protein synthesis, muscle protein synthesis. That's how some of these guys can eat 300-400 grams of protein a day and utilize quite a bit of it. So another issue is people just think that more is better. This is why the 1 gram tends to stick around, or more just tends to stick around. It's like, well, if this much is good, then this much is even better. And you know what? That could be true for some things, but I mean, toxicity is dose dependent, right? And so is effectiveness is dose dependent. You can have too little and it be completely ineffective. You can have just the right amount and be effective, and you can have too much and get no more gains, okay? Or it can kill you in the case of like drugs or medications. So some people are like, well, this, more is better. So I remember Dan Gable, who's a very famous wrestler from Iowa, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, honestly. He said, very obsessive personality. He said, if something is good, it's worth doing every day. And I think he said this before he had to have his hip replaced and some other issues from basically just wearing his body out. More has a cost. Okay, it's not always better. So there is an absolute number that the body can use. There are cases where more could help potentially, but for the average person like me and you, more than 0.82 is not going to help. 0.82 grams per pound of body, it's just not going to help. It's a waste of money. Protein is the most expensive macronutrient we have available to us. Carbs and fats are cheapest, which is why they're in everything that's delicious. Protein is always being diluted from most ultra-processed foods because it's expensive. So if you don't need more, it's not going to help you. Why would you spend more money on it? If you eat way more than is necessary, you can cause digestive distress as well. Like, I'm gonna be honest, if you start mashing tons of chicken breast every day, I eat about 180 grams a day of protein. If I bump that up to 250, the bathroom's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, right? It's gonna be difficult because now you got to have fat to help you go to the bathroom, fiber to help you go to the bathroom. The sheer mass needed can cause digestive distress. Okay, you don't need it. Supplement companies too, got to think of, at the end of the day, follow the money. Supplement companies have a very obvious interest in you eating more protein. So they pay for studies that miraculously show that you need, a huge amount of protein, more than what is recommended by all the other science, okay? Because remember, science is not about one study. It's like a river, okay? Where is the majority of the evidence leading us to? It's about probabilities. Like, where is all the evidence is leading in this direction, and you got one study that says this. Well, let's look at the ethical nature of that. Let's look at the study itself. Let's see. It could be an outlier. Chances are it's not, okay? So there's an obvious financial incentive for supplement companies to, get you to pack in as much protein as possible, okay? Also, one reason 1 gram per pound always sticks around is because people are lazy. Who wants to deal with decimal points? I got out of school so I could quit dealing with decimal points. So yeah, we're just lazy. 1 is easier to remember, okay? But if it's too much, why? And if you're eating huge amounts of calories, like if you're on I'm trying to gain muscle mass, you're going to have to eat a little more. You're going to have to be in a calorie surplus for the most part. You're going to have to be in a calorie surplus for the most part if you want to gain muscle, depending on how long you've been training or what your circumstances are. Then why spend more money on it? Why ram more into my system if I don't need to? Just so you know, there's nothing inherently wrong with consuming more protein than you need. The excess will just go to energy. Your body will just use it for energy in other places. However, protein sources are expensive, okay? Again, it's wasteful. It doesn't help. This tends to stick around, and it's just not necessary.
Imagine being in the best shape of your life and reaching your full potential. Well, they make an app for that. My name is Adam. I'm a coach, an athlete, and I've trained hundreds of people over the last few decades and seen great results. What makes my training different, my approach a little different, is that we treat you as a whole person, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You gotta grow all the way around. It's not enough just to have a great plan. You gotta have the right mindset to put that plan into action. And with my app, you get access to all this content. You're gonna have great training to choose from, whether you wanna get bigger and stronger, whether you're a lady who wants to have that nice hourglass figure, or if you just wanna be lean and strong, we have training for you. Not only that, but you're gonna have access to hundreds of other fitness influencers just like me to help you take you on your journey. So let me encourage you, sign up today, click that button, and let us join you on your fitness journey.
Couple of caveats, couple of places where more protein could be beneficial. Two cases. If you are really overweight and you're trying to lose weight really quickly, and you're having to eat far fewer calories than you're normally eating, protein is very filling. Okay? It's extremely filling. It doesn't, I challenge you to eat an 8-ounce chicken breast with no sauce on it, like no cheese, no ketchup, nothing else. Eat an 8-ounce chicken breast and tell me if you're still hungry. You're not hungry. Your jaw is sore from chewing that bad boy. It's like leather. Okay, I don't care how good you cook it. I don't care if you sous vide it. I don't care if Gordon Ramsay cooked it for you. That thing is difficult to eat, and you are not hungry afterwards. It's very filling. So it is a tool. It is a lever we can pull to help the weight loss journey be a bit easier, because it's much easier to lose weight if you're not hungry all the time. Okay, so more could be beneficial in this case. Now, are you going to build more muscle because of it? Absolutely not. You will possibly lose weight a bit easier. Okay, the other case where more protein, more than 0.82, could be helpful, even up to 1 gram could be helpful, is if you're doing what's called concurrent training. Let's say you are training for a marathon, you're doing you're putting a lot of miles in on the road, and you're lifting weights like 3-4 times a week, like hard lifting. Well, more protein could be beneficial simply because the amount of breakdown you have is so high. So in that case, it could stand to reason that a little more might help, but that's not the average person. Okay, anybody who's training for a marathon and lifting weights 3-4 times a week is not normal, right? Most people with kids, 9-to-5 job, going to school or whatever, you don't have time for that, much less recovery. You have to have special circumstances usually to be able to have that much output. So that might be helpful, okay? Now, this is where we get into the objections, okay? This is where I wish I could do like Jeff Nippard and put on a wife beater and have my alter ego, Bro from the gym. And my last name is Bro, so maybe I am Bro from the gym. But it always comes up and it's like, bro, all right. But what if I train super hard? Like, you don't know me, bro. When I get in the gym, I'm a freaking savage. Like, you don't understand, bro. I just go in there, I'm there to destroy the world. I listen to C.T. Fletcher and I listen to Megadeth the whole time. You don't even understand. Like, I know, bro. I know you've been training a long time, and you're surprisingly handsome. Thanks. Appreciate that. But I train harder than even you do, bro. Okay. Granted, maybe you do train that hard. Lemon et al. Here's a study. Lemon et al. 1992 studied bodybuilders. These are professionals who trained 90 minutes a day, 6 days a week. These people make money building muscle. They pay their bills with muscles. Okay. And they still concluded that 0.75 was adequate. So the 0.82 recommendation is still higher than that. So are you training? Do you make money? Do you make money? Pay your bills with this? Because if you don't pay your bills with lifting weights, you don't need more. Okay? You're not training harder. You might think you're training hard. And then on the other side, if you're training so hard that you're sore, like debilitatingly sore for days at a time, all your calories are just going to repair. They're not even going to rebuilding. They're not going to building, like adapting and super compensating. So if your normal workout drops you like this, and then you eat, like you eat enough protein and it builds you back up just a little bit further than where you were, that's super compensation. That's normal. But if you're working out so hard that you drop way down here, all your calories are just trying to get you back here, right? So you're not doing yourselves any favor. You're using brawn over intelligence, okay? And then you're so sore that your next workout is less effective because you're too sore to exercise with great quality, okay? So you're not training harder than other people. You might be training harder than the guy you see in the gym, but you're not training hard enough to elicit a response that requires more protein than what is being recommended. Okay? Sorry to break it to you. Okay, but what about you guys like me? You're advanced. You've been lifting for years. I would say if you've been lifting for 6, 7, to 10 years with good programming consistently, you would be considered advanced. Okay? But some guys are like, but bro, I've been doing this a long time. I'm super advanced. I mean, you don't even know. If I take this shirt off, your eyes will pop out of your head. Like when I get in there, it's crazy. Okay? All right. Let's logically think about this. Okay, you've been training. If you're like me, you've been training for 30 plus years. Okay? I wasted a lot of time, I'll be honest. So let's just say I've been training really specifically with pretty optimal training for the last 10 years, okay? Which is accurate. There's a couple of things. You have a genetic limit. You can only get so big, okay? There is a protein in your body called myostatin that limits the amount of muscle mass you can put on, and it's genetically determined. This is why some people, like I think his name is Ray Lewis, not the football player. He's one of the greatest bench pressers and powerlifters in the world. This man is over 400 pounds, but he has 300 pounds of muscle mass. That is untold. I'm 205 pounds, and I have maybe 170 pounds of muscle mass. He's double me. Some people just genetically have the ability to put on huge amounts of muscle mass, but we all have a determined amount that we're capable of getting to. And the longer you train, the more effectively you train, the closer you get to that genetic ceiling. You're super advanced. What happens when you have been training a long time? You have trouble getting sore. Why? Because as you train longer, your body becomes resistant to breakdown. Actually, your type 2 fibers actually start to transition into type 1 fibers. which gives you more endurance. They're much more resistant to fatigue and breakdown. Let's take it into context. You are near your genetic limit, so you're not gaining that much muscle mass. You're just not. You can't. You're genetically limited, and your body, because you've been training so long, you are resistant to breakdown. So why would you need more protein? You need more protein to have less gains? Is that the logic? No, that's completely illogical. Okay, you actually could use less and still maintain the same amount of muscle mass. Like, this is true for me. I've had periods where I wasn't tracking my food for a while, and I know I was under eating protein, but my weight stayed the same, my muscle definition stayed the same, my workouts were pretty much okay, right? It's because I'm near my genetic limit, and without performance enhancing drugs, it's not going to change. You don't need more because you're advanced, you actually need less. Sticking with the 0.82 recommendation, perfect, okay? You don't need more. Unless you just love protein, eat more. It's not going to hurt you, but waste your money. Go ahead. But what about if you're cutting weight? Like, let's say you're a bodybuilder, or let's just say you're a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu competitor and you need to cut weight. Is more protein going to help protect your muscle? Because we do know that protein intake is correlated with muscle protection. It does help you keep muscle on, which you need. Again, having muscle is not vanity. It is a key to longevity. It is a key to health. It helps injury prevention, glucose and blood sugar control. There is a lot. Muscle is pretty much an organ. It helps you. You need more of it. At the end of the day, your goal should be to have as much muscle mass as possible with as little body fat as possible. That should be the goal, okay? Because you are going to be healthier. Now, when you get into like single digit body fat, that's not sustainable. And for women, it becomes even worse, but you should still try to have as little body fat as you can within reason and without taking drugs, okay? Because the drugs actually take you the other direction. It's no longer healthy. So if you're cutting, again, we already talked about this. Walberg et al. 1988 studied weightlifters who were cutting weight and still found that 0.73 was sufficient to protect all their muscle mass, the lean body mass. If you're cutting, do you need more to protect your muscle mass? The evidence would say no, okay? There is, if you're training, if you're lifting weights, and you are eating the recommended amount of protein, you are not going to destroy your muscle mass. Now, if you are cutting very unintelligently and you're being very dramatic about it, like let's say you're like me and I maintain my body weight on roughly 2,800 calories. If I drop that to like 1,500 calories, that would be very, very drastic for me. And yes, I would probably lose muscle mass just from the sheer amount of calorie deficiency. Okay, it's a lean mass I'm losing as well as fat. But if I'm intelligent about it and I drop my calories by, let's say, 500 a day, so I'm down to 2,300, I'm lifting weights, I'm not doing excessive amounts of cardio, getting plenty of protein, I should maintain most of my muscle mass. Okay, so you don't need more. Again, more does not equal better. So also, when your calories get super low, if your protein is really high, you're having to cut out carbs and fats, which are great for energy and they're great for happiness. They make you happy. Okay, carbs make you happy. Fat tastes great. That's why it's in everything. If you are cutting, you don't want to get super low in calories. The lower your calories get, the more you need to be able to sustain the diet. Therefore, protein should be set at the recommended amount, and it's lower than what most people think, so it gives you more room to stay on track. At the end of the day, every diet comes down to adherence. Most people fail because of adherence. They don't fail because the diet didn't work. They failed because they couldn't stick to it. All right? Even a Twinkie diet, if you can stick to it and you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. There are studies. At the end of the day, 0.82 grams is plenty. Okay? You don't need more. If you are having trouble getting, let's say, what is the minimum amount? Okay, sorry, digging at my ear. That's weird. So what is the minimum amount? Let's just say you just want to be healthy. You're not even working out. Minimum, probably 0.7. 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. Perfect for people who are not even really training. You're just trying to, have a good body composition, feel good, and make sure that you're covering all your bases. 0.7 is plenty, okay? If 0.73 is enough to protect weightlifters, then 0.7 is enough for you. So that's even lower, okay? Now, we do need to be careful going too low, because there is a thing called protein leverage theory, where basically protein needs are an absolute, right? They're not like, they vary from day to day. It's an absolute need. So the absolute minimum is different for everybody. But if you are like eating a vegan diet or, vegetarian diet, hunger is going to be an issue, because the protein leverage theory is going to say that it says that we will continue to eat until we hit that protein minimum. Okay. This is why people who eat highly processed foods, highly processed diets, are one of the reasons why they're constantly dealing with hunger, is because you're just not getting the nutrients that you need, like amino acids. So your body is constantly upticking ghrelin, the hunger hormone, in order to drive you to try to get what it needs in order to survive. All right? That's why a nutrient-dense whole food diet is perfect. You can eat fewer calories, you get more nutrients per calorie, and you're healthy. Perfect. Okay? So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions or concerns, or you just want to, leave comments, or you want to chat about something, put them in the comments below. Hopefully it helps. Let me know. Talk soon.